talking about interest-free banking developments. Interest-free banking developments, and I would like to invite the moderator, panelists, and presenter for this session. Audience, please help me in welcoming them as they come up. Malika Bedri Mohammed, the CEO of Zamzam Bank. I've seen your stand out there, very colorful. Mohammed Zubair, CEO of Al Huda Center of Islamic Banking Economics from the United Arab Emirates. Please come to the stage. Fraser Ayalu, who we've had on one of the previous panels, the Director, Bank Supervision Director for the National Bank. If you could please join the speakers on stage.
Now I will take you to Malika, who is the CEO of the first full-fledged interest-free banking, Zamzam Bank. And I just want you to take us through the performance of the interest-free banking operators in general in Ethiopian context. And I just want you to address also, are they living up to the expectation? There was a long expectation for the interest-free products and services. So tell us about the performance, and also, are they serving the expectation?
Thank you, Mukammel. Good afternoon, everyone. I think it will be hard to address such difficult questions. It seems everybody is tired, but I want to create some emotional attachment while I'm responding to this question. When you are asking me whether it is performing up to the expectation, I think I need to state the critical milestones before directly answering your question. Otherwise, the issue might be misleading if we only focus on the numbers. To mention the milestones, the history of may I use the word Peter used, the Sharia-compliant banking, the demand in our country's case, it came from the public. It dates back to 2008, some 17 years back. And at that time, during the formation of the first Zamzam Bank, though it was not successful, the effort, pushed the then authorities to include an article in the proclamation number of 592, 2008. This is the beginning of the history, which we mostly forget when we, discuss about the history and the development of interest-free banking. Later, after 3 years of ups and downs, the directive, which we all know, which is SBB 51/2011, was issued and allowed the operation of window service instead of, the question which the public was fighting or pushing for. This was another critical milestone which we also to put on record. On this important event, while we are launching the first inaugural of the financial sector, I would like to, celebrate the National Bank of Ethiopia for organizing this event. And on my part also, I would like to ask the audience to join me in acknowledging the visionaries who pioneered the idea of interest-free banking at those difficult times. After that also, one thing I would like to acknowledge as milestone is the commercial banks which were in operation at that time, who started the window service from scratch and who introduced that to the public and also familiarized the product. We can cite Oromia International Bank and banks like Commercial Bank of Ethiopia. I want also to acknowledge these milestones. So the other milestone which brought, big transformation in this field of business is the enactment of SBB 7229, which the government, as a part of its reform program during the inception of the office, which it allowed the operation of full-fledged interest-free banking. Again, please allow me to acknowledge this milestone, because this has created a shift in the financial sector. The financial sector, which was dominantly conventional, was turned to dual system because of this transformative and bold policy decision. It is not about directive, it is a policy measure which is part of the transformation that we can consider it. After that, enactment, the full-fledged interest-free banks, starting from Zamzam, other three full-fledged interest-free banks, apart from the window and the standalone branches and banks that we are offering, joined the market. To name them, we are very few, Hijra and Shabele and Ramis, the full-fledged interest-free banks can be mentioned. So all these achievements, I think we have to tie it with the big shift which is brought as an enactment of that proclamation and directive. And I will try to compare the figures before 2020, the year 2020 and the year 2025. If we look at the deposit volumes before the enactment of this directive, the volume of the deposit, which was very, progressive for that time, was 57.7 billion. But now, after 5 years, with the figure as of now, it stands at 330 billion in March 2025. Apart from the numbers, which this fact shows, the trust and confidence the customers and the public started, started to put in the system and in the interest-free banking as a whole, because the confidence is set at the top, and the people and which were somehow reluctant to the service started joining the market. This number holds like 10% of the whole deposit volume of the financial sector. If we look at the growth trend also, it's the growth rate annually is 30%, which is more higher than the conventional one. Of course, as a growing market, we expect the growth, and this one is also can be considered as one testament with the growth of the business. If we look at the customer base also, the customer number, which was 5.6 million in the year 2020, has now grew to 25.8 million, as that data of the March 2025 shows. The unbanked population started using the formal financial service, particularly those who had been marginalized or excluded from the service sector because of religious belief or other factors, are now truly included in the system. Most importantly, this development has reversed the stereotype mentality which were circulating by questioning the sustainability and the profitability of the interest-free banking. The interest-free bank in general, be it window or otherwise, or the full-fledged interest-free banks in particular, started making profit within less than 3 years of their operation, and they sustained that profit as well. As Mr. Mohammed was saying, and as we heard from the presentation, apart from its contribution for inclusivity, the business itself is profitable and it has business case. Most importantly, the sector showed its inclusiveness. It has nothing to do with religion. Of course, the base is Sharia principle, but the service every walk of life. In our environment, if you see the full-fledged interest-free banks, we have shareholders who made equity investment in banks. We have customers who made their first choice the full-fledged interest-free bank and the window service. We have also employees and senior management members who stand for the cause, because it is all-inclusive business, and that has been also challenging practically. If we see the other element which shows the business growth of this model is the financing volume. The financing volume, which was only 13.3 million, 13.3 billion in the year 2020, has now surged to 151 billion. We have heard in the morning's presentation, the half part of even the numbers are increasing as we talk now, but 50% of this volume goes to the state-owned Commercial Bank of Ethiopia, but the private sector is also taking its lion's share. The important factor here is not about the number. The borrowing to deposit ratio is significantly increasing. When you look to the interest-free banks and the full-fledged ones, we don't have other business. Whatever we mobilize from the public goes directly in the form of financing. So the ratio is improving from time to time, from insignificant number, but especially the full-fledged ones are holding like 70% loan to deposit ratios. This has meaningful economic reasons. That's why I want to stress it. So I don't want to take much time, but if you look on the profile of the borrowers, the first-time borrowers which has never accessed the banks we are proud of them. They're coming for the first time and they don't have any clue about financing. In one hand, we are teaching them. On another hand, also, we avail the service, and the volume is impressive when we look in this angle. Apart from the traditional financing, the IFB sector also introduced non-collateralized digital lending. The non-collateralized digital lending is especially the Sharia-compliant digital platform is addressing the finance need of the underserved micro and small and medium enterprises. A case in point which I would like to state in this point is the AI-powered digital platform Ansar that we have launched in partnership with the Kefia technology. With this very much data-driven technology, like we heard it repeatedly in the morning, this is also the first of its kind for the interest-free banking sector. In fact, it is not only the first for our country, it is also the first in Africa, and very recently it has brought to our country award in the international forum, in international stage, which the Ethiopia's name was highly mentioned. In this platform, from the traditional one, if I compare my own data, since our bank's formation, the numbers that we have financed is less than that figure. Within short period of time, we have managed to onboard more than 5,000, close to 6,000 micro and small borrowers. Majority of them are women. In this point also, I would like to acknowledge MasterCard Foundation for the credit de-risking effort that generously they provided us. In fact, the women and the youth and the small businesses are not risky one, but to start the business, they provided us the de-risking element for the Ethiopian banks, and for especially as Zamzam is the only bank which included as full-fledged interest-free bank, I had to acknowledge on behalf of everybody. In conclusion, what I would like to underline is innovation, digital financing, partnering with fintech companies, and onboarding every stakeholder is, very essential to grow this market. As we have heard it from experts, its potential is immense. Its contribution is not only for profit, it is for economic growth and for real inclusiveness.
Malika, the one who brought a commendable bank from nothing into something. Thank you, Malika.
Of the day. Following this session, we will